Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
The pressure on the Leafs players individually and as a franchise, I saw it firsthand here, and it's immense. Is there any correlation from that to 1967 in your mind?
Yeah, a bit. You know, it's, as we know, Rod, it's an enormous market. And if you're a Leafs fan, you don't have to live in the greater Toronto area. I mean, they are worldwide, so they get it from all comers. But, you know, this is a group that has been given ample opportunity and time to develop. For the most part, they've been together 7 years. And you're looking at superstar talent here in Austin Matthews and in Mitch Marner. They bring in John Tavares, the captain, via trade. You know, pay him a king's ransom on the contract extension. And then you've got William Nylander and go down the list. And they had not been playing to the level of their ability. And what made it, I think, a bit worse was, you know, some of the sniping towards the media earlier this week, particularly from Marner. Now, I can appreciate, you know, his angst and his level of frustration, because you're answering the same batch of questions, you know, basically every day as long as you're available to the media. But that grinds on you. And Marner especially seems to be a beacon for negativity among the legion of Toronto Maple Leafs fans. But the best way to silence the critics and to push the noise away is to play the way the team played last night. Is there pressure on him going into Game 5? Of course there is. But there's also now pressure on Matthew Tkachuk and the Florida Panthers. I mean, Tkachuk acknowledged, rightly so, going into Game 4, hey, there's no pressure on us. Well, they lost Game 4. Now, if they lose Game 5 in Toronto, that pressure becomes significant on the Florida Panthers. No doubt about that.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
I say it every day with the people that I'm around. It's not that people are dumb, maybe ignorant. Ignorant means unaware of how things work. We've really realized this in the last 6 months about a lot of things.
how about that?
I'm not criticizing you. I've just never met anybody like that before. Everybody in my circle likes a little bit of everything, or a lot of everything. But that's the whole idea of diversifying, right? Variety is the spice of life.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Man, what a very apropos intro, because we have a lot to get to on what we like to call a Football Friday today, but a lot of things going on in the sports world. We're coming to you from South Florida, episode 999. The numerologist would say a very special episode of the program today, coming your way on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, podcast form and streaming. Darren Moose DuPont joins us. He is in Alberta today. I don't even know. Do you want to tell people where you, what studio you're at? You're in a very special studio. Do you want to tell people?
Yeah, this is the, are we going to call this the Airdrie Studios, Alberta? Yeah. You know, south, we could do that. Beautiful spot here. And if you notice the Canucks, the Lions gear up over the shoulder, you might get an idea of where I'm at.
Yes, absolutely. He is in the Alberta election headquarters, our Airdrie studio, Darren Moose DuPont. And I'll just say from Rhino Radio, check it in from WQEE in Noonan, Georgia, Atlanta suburb. He says, Football Friday, Atlanta's NHL show, King Rod and the RP crew. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? Get down to business. Enough Mickey Mouse, and I will tell you that Reid Johnson's going to join us a little later on, the host of the MarkCast out of Seattle, and TSN's Farhan Lalji on a Football Friday. And trust me, we're going to get to some very interesting football stuff today in all leagues. But first, Darren mentioned this. Everybody is talking about the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and that's what we do here in the warm-up is the day's news. The NHL has meted out punishment to both the Edmonton Oilers and Vegas Golden Knights for the wild end to Game 4 of their playoff series Wednesday. Golden Knights defenseman Alex Pietrangelo and Oilers defenseman Darnell Nurse were both suspended for tonight's Game 5 in Las Vegas. They're being punished for their actions in the final 90 seconds of Edmonton's 4-1 win. The series is tied 2-2. I'm not going to spend much time on that. Gosh knows. Just go to your local social media platform and you'll get more than enough reaction You don't need ours. All I'll say is Darren Dreger from TSN yesterday called it. He said this is the way it will probably go. It's the way it did go. And Darren Dreger has a pipeline right into the NHL office. The second he said that, I knew that was what was going to happen. And that's what did happen. I guess Kelly Rudy went off last night. That's the word we got. Kelly Rudy went off on the Hockey Night in Canada intermission panel saying, how do you compare? How do you make it even? That Nurse skated how far to get involved in a fracas versus the chop? One seems more severe than the other, but the NHL didn't feel that way, and I'm tired of talking about officiating. So moving on to point 2, the Toronto Maple Leafs hope to keep their playoff hopes alive. They host the Florida Panthers in Game 5 of their best-of-7 series, trailing 3-1. Mitch Marner's goal stood as the winner in Game 4 for Toronto's first victory of the series on Wednesday. That's not going to be our poll question tonight. Will the Leafs today? Will the Leafs win or not? I will ask you, Darren. How are you feeling about the game going in?
A little better than I was about Game 4. That's for sure. At least, they put a complete effort together. We talked about that after the game. I think this is a real opportunity to grab momentum, though. I don't think the Leafs have momentum yet in this series, even though they picked up a win. I think they need to tilt the ice and, win a game convincingly to have some real momentum on their way. And then the ball's going downhill into Game 6. But, still a little uneasy. And Florida Panthers fans shouldn't be worried about Game 5 yet. They were very much in Game 4 all the way.
I don't think Panthers fans are worried about tonight. But if there's a Game 6, they'd be very worried for obvious reasons. Yeah. All of a sudden, they would have lost momentum in the series. And Toronto, nobody's going to argue, is the better team. Toronto's the better team of the two. So the second they wake up, but there's, we could sit and talk about this forever, and Game Plus is anchored out of Toronto. There's a lot of Leaf fans watching right now. I don't think it's a shock that getting out of Toronto helped the Leafs win Game 4. I wonder if going back there tonight has amplified more pressure on them. I don't know. We've been invited to a watch party tonight for Game 5 in Fort Lauderdale. I'd like to go, but as you know, I don't have final say. Either way, I'm going to be watching it, whether it's with a group of people or not. I'm very much looking forward to the game, and I think it is really a coin flip, 50-50. One half of the Eastern Conference final set after the Carolina Hurricanes advanced last night. Jesper Fost's deflection a little over 7 minutes into overtime gave Carolina a 3-2 victory over the Devils, so they took the series in 5. And also Thursday night, the Dallas Stars took a 3-2 series lead over the Seattle Kraken with a 5-2 victory Thursday night. I'm going to speed things up because I do want to get to mostly football today. That's why a lot of the football fans have shown up. But our poll question is for Key Auto Group. When it's time to transition into the world of electrified vehicles, the all-new Niro Hybrid is the perfect first step. Call Key Yorkton Kia at 306-783-2772 or go to keyyorktonkia.com for more information. The 23 Kia Niro, movement that inspires. It's a football-themed question today. Will you be watching the XFL Championship on Saturday night? It's 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC. And it's the DC somethings against the Arlington Renegades. And I'll be watching for lack of anything else to do. Put me down as a yes. But so far, early respondents not good for the XFL. 89% on Twitter saying no. And what do you got on YouTube, Clark? Last I looked, like 74% said no, they're not going to watch the XFL Championship. 70% say no, they're not going to watch. So, hey, that's our viewers. We're predominantly Canadian viewers if we bring the Moose back in. So I'm a yes, dog. How are you voting for that?
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm a yes because I'm curious. I'm curious to see what the XFL Championship's going to be all about, right? We see fans that don't watch the NFL all year round, but they watch the Super Bowl because it's such a spectacle. Will the XFL Championship be any sort of spectacle? I'm not sure if it'll feel like a big game or not. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see what kind of product they put out on the field and also, what that crowd looks like for a championship game.
Sure. Reid Johnson joining us later on this hour from the MarkCast to talk about the XFL Championship. But this morning on ESPN, Clark said he has this photo. I sent it to him This was from First Take, the show hosted by Stephen A. Smith. I'd say probably the most popular in America daytime sports talk show. That's from our living room. Coming up, The Rock, talking about the XFL championship. He's in an XFL jersey, and it looks like he's in New York. I guess that's where the game's going to be played. And listen, I don't blame the CFL. Why would you want to partner with a loser like that? Why would you want anything to do with a loser like The Rock? Get out of here, XFL. You suck. That's all I have to say about that. Missed opportunity. And that's my opinion. That's not even necessarily saying I'm right. Because people could sit there and go, look at the crowds, Rod. No. Look, the ratings are bad. The crowds are... You win. You won, okay? Point 3, Chris Bassett gets the start as the Toronto Blue Jays open up a series against the visiting Atlanta Braves tonight. Toronto had yesterday off after dropping back-to-back games in Philadelphia. Spencer Strider takes his perfect 4-0 record to the mound for the Braves. Moving on to point 4, NFL schedule release. I promised you a lot of football today. Can you tell me, Darren, why? I have my thoughts on why this is such a big deal, and it's because American and Canadian NFL fans are told that it's a big deal. It's like the World Juniors. Why is this a big deal? Oh, because TSN told you it's a big deal. TSN gets credit for making the World Juniors what it is. I watched 5 to 10 minutes last night on the NFL Network of the schedule release. It was 4 guys, including David Carr, sitting around. Did you see that? A card table outside SoFi Stadium last night in their shades, talking about the schedule. And I'm sitting there going, why am I watching this? It's a schedule release. And I thought about it overnight, and I thought, I get why the fans are excited. And I don't know where you are on this, Darren. If you're a fan and a media guy, as am I, both, but the fans will look at the schedule of their favorite team and go, well, I could go to this game. I'll be at this road game. We could win this one. Our record's going to be this based on... I come from the other side, which is working for a team for a generation, and that is I don't really care about the schedule. Tell me where we're going to be in week 1. Tell me where we're going to be in week 20 and every week in between. Because for a long time, it was we played every team in the West, every team in the East, once at home, once on the road, and an imbalance in the West. And see you when we get there. And who we open up against with the hockey team? Moose Jaw again? Or is it Brandon again? Okay, let's go. I don't understand why it's a really big deal. Tell me why.
I know. And the thing is we know who all the opponents are going to be long before the schedule gets released, right? They've got a rotation, where you're going to play which division in the other conference and stuff. And so it's released long ago, like towards, after the season's over, who the road opponents are, who the home opponents are. But you're right. The things that do matter, I think, that we look at is who's playing on Thanksgiving, which games are scheduled on Thanksgiving, which games are scheduled, on Christmas. Which are our, which days are we going to get this team or that team? And you do start planning out your schedule based on the games and where they slot in. But for the most part, it's a hype machine. It's manufactured, you're right, by the networks and by the teams. Like they all do their own little videos. And I guess the video the Titans put out is getting a little traction because they had some fun with the people down on Broadway who didn't know all the NFL teams, which was kind of hilarious. So they do cool things like that to make it a big deal. But you're right. It's nothing. It's not groundbreaking or earth-shattering stuff.
Yeah. So should we jump on the hype train, or what should we do? We're going to do what we want to do because it's the Rod Pedersen show. But like I go into our viewers' comments here from Ben Tomlinson. He says the NFL media needs stuff to do. I guess, but they could be covering other things. But they're not. They're covering the NFL. Darren just said it, the hype machine. Where is the CFL hype? That guy. That's about it. Crickets. Crickets. So that's why I'm saying where's the hype? That's what I was trying to get the CFL to do for years, and they didn't want to do it, so here we are. Yeah. By the way, the MarkCast is watching in Seattle. Reid Johnson, he says, it's taking place in San Antonio. That's a photoshopped picture.
How about
The Rock standing there in front of a... the XFL doesn't know what they're doing. They put a damn photo from New York on there. What a bunch of idiots.
How about that?
Am I doing it right? John, he says, I'm curious about the XFL championship. What's the cost of a commercial for this event? Got to be millions cheaper than the Super Bowl. Well, yes, but there will be millions less watching, of course. Yeah. So that's where it's the hype machine. It's for others. It's not for me. I watched it. I tried. And it's almost a disservice to, let's say, the Panthers or even the Miami Heat, who are home tonight, looking to close out the Knicks. Everybody's talking about the Dolphins schedule. So who's the dummies? Not the NFL. Not the NFL. You just need to make a choice of what you're going to watch. Football fans, Woody's RV World presents the summer football road trip hosted by the Rod Pedersen Show and Engelheim. Tickets are available now at rodpedersen.com, and the trip includes charter transportation from Engelheim, from the Queen City, June 23rd to Calgary, and back on Sunday, the June 25th. 2 nights accommodations at our host hotel, Hotel Cleat, Calgary Airport, with complimentary breakfast, exclusive pre- and post-game parties hosted by yours truly and Rider alumni. Ticket to the Rough Riders at Stampeders on June 24th. Tickets are moving now, and can I say, you know your mom's a big Rider fan. Mother's Day's on Sunday, isn't it? Maybe get her and her buds a trip. You've seen 80 for Brady. Why don't we do the CFL version? 80 for Trevor Harris. RodPedersen.com now. Get your tickets.
My mom's not 80.
Say what? Say your mom's not 80?
My mom's not 80, yeah. Not yet.
I'm in favor of your mom going with all her buds to the game. Where is Jack Fulton chiming in? He says, I had lunch. Jack from Vulcan, Alberta. Had lunch with Nick Lewis and Jabari Arthur at rookie camp yesterday. Both said to say howdy to Rod and Moose. Excited for CFL football, as are we. Arlen Bruce III says September 7th, Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Detroit Lions at Arrowhead Stadium. Chiefs by 8, take the over. AB's in. I saw that last night. Congratulations to the Detroit Lions. You missed the playoffs last year. Your reward, facing the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead in week 1.
Yeah.
Suckers! I'm going to speed this up in a minute. 0.5. No surprises on day 1 of the Centennial Cup in Portage. The Battleford's North Stars opened with a 4-1 win over the Cam River Fighting Walleye of Ontario. The Brooks Bandits thumped Yarmouth 7-2, and the Collingwood Blues upended Steinbach 2-1. Today, 12:30 Eastern, Ottawa Junior Senators versus the Terrebonne Cobra. At 4:30 Eastern, the Timmins Rock, home of Shania Twain and Dave Poulin. The Timmins Rock will take on Yarmouth Mariners. And at 8:30 Eastern, it's the Steinbach Pistons versus the host Portage Terriers. And 0.6, the Western Hockey League final begins tonight in Winnipeg's Canada Life Center. The Ice are home to the Seattle Thunderbirds. I'd love to see not only 10,000 plus there. Let's sell the joint out at about an even 15,000. Get out there and cheer on the Ice because they deserve it. We got through all of our points. Later on in the sports updates, we'll get to what happened in the NLL playoffs last night. But when we come back, I want to delve into my 2023 CFL storyline, see if they mesh with yours, Moose, and the viewers. We'll talk about the XFL Championship, NFL schedule release because it's a Football Friday. And we're live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, your favorite podcast platform, and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Canadian Centre for Men and Families Alberta supports men through relationship turmoil and breakdown. Men face the realities of relationship breakdown in a way that is unique. These men need a safe place to belong and have meaningful conversations that help equip them to create a better future for themselves and their families. CCMF Alberta programs responsibly address the results of trauma on men's mental health. CCMF Alberta, because children need their fathers too.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Will there be a Game 6 at that joint, FLA Live Arena in Sunrise, Florida? Very good question. That's 27 miles away from where I'm at today. In the Florida studio, let's bring in Darren Moose DuPont. He is in our Airdrie office. And Sean is watching in Vancouver on the Game Plus network. He's watching. He texts on the 902 line. And he says, pack those swim trunks, Moose. Praying for a Game 6 for you. Happy Friday, RP squad. Jim Wagner watching in Balgony, Sask. Glad you asked. He says, hello, RP family. Roddy is spicy this morning. I like it. Thanks for the info and entertainment all week. Enjoy your weekend, all. And I don't think I'm any spicier than normal. Let's put it this way. I will say this. Our hotelier friend, you know, Jeff, the hotelier, hotel magnate, he texted me yesterday and he said, for a guy that didn't want to work yesterday, you were sure on fire. And I said, well, I said, I could put in a few hours, but it is fun driving around down here with the top off and just seeing the sights because there's a lot. It never gets old. Chris Bird is watching on Game Plus TV, and he writes in, he says, greetings from King City, Ontario. Agree with Dupe's assessment. Florida has been playing with abandon, and the Leafs have had to and must continue to step up to that level of physicality. Thank you for all that. We call this a Football Friday, however, and from the streaming, Rob Scott, who I believe is in BC, he says, I couldn't name one XFL franchise. Wayne in Victoria, BC says the XFL championship is already here. It seems like yesterday that the season began. Sorry, but I'm not an XFL fan. And from Ben Tomlinson in streaming, he says XFL and USFL is less entertaining than the CFL, but that's because the CFL has a much faster play style, which makes up for its less athleticism overall. And lastly, Aaron in Edmonton watching, he says the BC Lions are doing a decent job creating content with their Arrow Up series. Shame the CFL can't do a minimum effort. I don't want to be a negative Nelson here. Believe me, I don't. I want to have fun on this Football Friday, Darren. But what we're talking about is Ottawa's behind the R series, like their Drive to Survive thing. The Lions doing their own. But what I'm talking is not the teams. What about the media? What about the coffee shop talk? What about the buzz on the streets? Where is that? That's all that I'm saying. Of course, the teams are. You'd like to think that they are. But enough about that. I posted twice this week my top storylines in the CFL in 2023. Number one storyline for me is, does Bo Levi Mitchell avenge being put out to pasture by the Calgary Stampeders and lead the Hamilton Tiger Cats to the Grey Cup and a championship? That's my number one story. I'm not moving off it. What would be yours?
I think that is the number one storyline in the CFL, for sure, for me. But there's a number of them, excuse me, and most of them revolve around the quarterbacks. And they're all juicy. Like, I look at that one being the biggest there. Probably Winnipeg and Zach Collaros being the most boring, because it's just the same back to back, and he's going to be great. So that's juicy. No Macbeth in Toronto. So can they run it back without him, right? And can Kelly do it? I look at Cody Fajardo going to Montreal with Jason Moss, mind you, and everybody thought that they didn't get along. They ended up signing together in Montreal. So that's a big deal. You go to BC and Nathan Rourke leaving, and now it's Vernon Adams' franchise. So what happens there? There are so many different storylines just around one position. And that's just the start.
You know what? I did the 10. I could have done 100. And people, maybe not 100, but a lot. I could have done easily 24, because in my top 10, the second one that I wrote, I did not have, the Edmonton Elks finally win a home game. And somebody wrote in, and they were very nice about it. They said, Rod, great top 10, but here's mine. It wasn't the usual, you didn't say this. I don't want to turn this into a CFL versus XFL thing, but Reid Johnson, you think I'm spicy. This guy's spicier than Taco Time. He says he's watching in Seattle. He says, I bet there are plenty of Americans and Canadians who couldn't name a CFL franchise. Stop. Actually, you guys can have a war. You can have a war in the comments section. I still want to bring it over here. Jenna's watching in Southern California, and she says, Darnell Sankey is a favorite to watch on the Arlington Renegades defense. See, I thought so, but this morning, and I'm sure Jenna's right because she's watched more XFL than I have, but I looked up their roster this morning. I couldn't find him. I Googled Arlington Renegades roster. It's on the internet. It's got to be true, doesn't it? John Ohm says if Bo Levi has a supporting cast, he will shine. It's a team game, right? And he says, I'm hoping Cody kicks butt in Montreal. Jack in Vulcan, Alberta says, Bo's health is the key. He definitely still has it in him to be in and win the 2023 Grey Cup. So I apologize. Mine was, does Bo get back to the Grey Cup at Hamilton? That was my number one.
Yeah.
What was your number? Because you threw out a bunch. What's your number one? Did you say what your number one is?
I'm with you. Number one is Bo in the just Bo in Hamilton. Number one.
I love it. I love it. Everybody's chime. This is what I wanted. I said this today was going to be a big CFL day, and interestingly enough, Jeff, the Stamps fan, ain't here. Let's talk about him. From Lafayette. Lafayette is the account. Drove through Lafayette. By the way, at Christmas time, lovely town. On our way from Florida to Richmond. A 14-hour drive, Moose. It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
But Lafayette says, go Edmonton Elks. American here, but I live 25 miles across Lake Erie from Canada. Oh, you're not actually from Lafayette. I'm sorry. Lafayette, Georgia. Thought you were. I still drove through Oh, there's Jeff the Sam's fan on cue. He says, Look for the Stampeders to run the ball a lot. And Kareem Carey to get most outstanding player consideration. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, writes in. He says, ending Hamilton's Grey Cup drought would cement his place as one of the greatest CFL quarterbacks ever. Well, ending Hamilton's Grey Cup drought would cement that as the number one story of all time. Bo, 3 Grey Cups, ending the drought. I mean, my God, if there are football gods, and we know there are, it'll be a Hamilton-Calgary Grey Cup. I mean, forget about it. It's all I want to see.
I know.
That's all I want to see.
So good.
Oh, cool. Lafayette says that's my name. My bad. And Carlos in Indianapolis says there are several places called Lafayette in the U.S., just like there's several places called Columbus in the United States. Go figure. But we spent a lot of time in Calgary, 5 months last year. There's only one question. Maybe we should do what's the biggest question for every franchise. It's not that hard. Can the BC Lions win without Nathan Rourke? I don't think they can. VA has other ideas. Who's VO? Calgary. Did the Stampeders make the right move in replacing Bo Levi Mitchell with Jake Mayer? I scoff at anybody. You've been around Calgary enough. Nobody in Calgary is even saying they made the wrong move. And that's because did they think that Bo had regressed, or do they just trust the triumvirate of John Huffnagel, Dave Dickinson, and Mark Mueller? And before that, there were 4 of them. Throw Ryan Dinwiddie in there. Those guys don't miss with quarterbacks. So is it even really a question whether they made the right move or not? Are we anointing it already that it was a good move? I'm not sure. Are you?
I think it was the right move. Even if Bo goes on to win a Grey Cup, doesn't mean it was a bad move. I think they were ready to make the transition. And you're right. They know quarterbacks, and they always know just, it seems like, when to pull the trigger and make the move. Doesn't mean that he won't go on to do great things in Hamilton. I think Jake will be fine.
I knew that we were going to be all over the place today, so I apologize for everybody if it's more of a squirrel moment day than normal. Wilf is watching in Steinbach, Manitoba, where his Pistons take on the host Portage Terriers tonight in the featured game at the Centennial Cup. I'm watching that an unreasonably closely amount. Wilf says, hi, Rod and Moose. While channel surfing, I stopped on the XFL, then realized it was not that good. Pa-dum-pum. Now, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Darren and I talk about this a lot. Is the XFL good pizza or bad pizza? I as a guy who owned a pizzeria, a high-end gourmet pizzeria, by the way, if you have crappy pizza and you put it in a nice box, does that make you like the pizza a little more? But if you've got, like, pizza that slaps, banging, Western pizza, and you put it in an ugly box, does that make a difference? Because listen, there's a whole art to the restaurant business. What color the plates are, how big the plates are, what the plates are made of. You've worked in restaurants enough. Is the XFL good pizza or bad pizza? I think it's better pizza than the NFL.
It's unknown pizza. It's unknown. I think here's the thing.
Is it?
Well, stick with me here. I think here's where we're at. It's not about good pizza or bad pizza, I think, because you say all pizza's good, right?
Yes.
Some's better than others. All food's good, all hockey's good, right? We know that. I think what happens is nobody has said or blogged or tweeted that the XFL is good pizza. You know, when somebody says, you got to check out this hidden gem pizza. It is really great. This is the best pizza in the city. Then everybody goes. Doesn't matter if it's good pizza or bad pizza. It's popular pizza. So everybody says it's good. Prices go up. Everybody loves it. People come from out of town, and you got to check out this pizza, right? And all pizza's good. Nobody's got there yet. Nobody that has influence or that's very cool or has a big sway outside of The Rock, has come out and said, the XFL is good pizza. You got to check out this hidden gem. When they do, it'll go nuts, I think. But that's got to happen first.
What you're saying is sizzle and marketing and star power. You know, has The Rock done enough to drag the XFL brand? Well, gosh knows he's done as much as he can. And he's on ESPN right now talking about it. So at least he's doing that. And it can't hurt to be partnered up with the world's #1 entertainment star. And did you see this morning the notification come down from TSN that Ryan Reynolds' ownership group no longer pursuing ownership of the Senators? Well, wasn't that the biggest circle, you know what, for months? Why are we talking about this? It's fake. It was fake news. More people were talking about that than week 1 in the CFL, which incidentally we'll get around to probably an hour or two. It's many weeks away, but BC's at Calgary, Hamilton's at Winnipeg, Ottawa's at Montreal, Sask is at Edmonton. And there are those that are saying that'll define the season. Sask at Edmonton. Will that be the game? Can you imagine if the Elks finally win their first home game under the name Elks against Sask? Chris Jones.
I know.
Beats his former team. All of a sudden, curses in Ryderville. All of a sudden, the death watch is on. Moose, come back for hour 2. See? Told you we'd have a lot to get into today.
Let's go.
All right, Reid Johnson. I know he's got some things to say from the MarkCast. Nobody covers the XFL better than him. Reid Johnson from Seattle in next on this Football Friday on the Game Plus TV network, WQEE Radio, your favorite podcast platform and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Game 5 in 2 cities tonight. In Toronto, the Florida Panthers at the Leafs looking to close it out. And in Vegas, where the Oilers and Golden Knights are 2-2. And Seattle Kraken down 3-2, by the way. We will get to that with Reid Johnson from the MarkCast, but not first. We're opening up with football. He is the world's preeminent XFL reporter and podcaster. Joins us from Seattle. Okay, did you hold it all in, Reid? Are you ready to go with what was being said about your league earlier? Not by me, but by our viewers.
I was already in a bad mood. I watched the Kraken watch party last night, watched them fall 3-2 against the Dallas Stars. Then I see all these CFL fans poo-pooing in the chat. Oh, I don't know. I could name a CFL franchise. Cool story, bro. It's great. It's great.
That's all you got? Come on, man. You can trash talk with the best of them. Bring it.
We did it, Rod. We did it. We're at the championship game. Tell Arash Madani, light it up. Tell Michael Ballsy, light it up. Marshall Ferguson, we did it. We're here. Going to be in, it's in San Antonio, Rod, not New York, San Antonio. We're going to be there. I'm flying out in 3 hours. I'll be there.
Wow. Well, you can see why I would be fooled. Why would they put a photo of the Brooklyn Bridge over the Rock's shoulder? I don't understand why they would do that.
I don't know. His first take, do they tape in New York? Is that, yeah, that photo was Photoshop. That's from the kickoff in Arlington. I was there and I saw The Rock in the ill-fitted jersey that he wore to take that photo.
Okay, dude. Give me the best commercial why people should watch the XFL Championship Saturday night on ABC.
Well, it's exciting. It's prime time, back to prime time. You have DC Defenders. They were 9-1 during the season, kicked the snot out of the Seattle Sea Dragons for the playoff game weekend before last. And then you have Arlington out of the South. They're kind of the underdogs all year. They made a quarterback change halfway through the season. You know, it's all these things very similar to the CFL. You know, we have losing teams and losing records in divisions in the East. And now they're in the championship game. And wouldn't that be crazy if they won? I mean, if you're a CFL fan, nothing's happening this weekend. Like, it doesn't affect you. Watch the game, enjoy it. It's good football. USFL is playing too. We have 2 competing spring football leagues right now. And I think people are really excited to see what the XFL delivers. Don't think crowd's going to be crazy. Probably look like a Red Blacks game midweek, but it should be fun.
Got a prediction for me?
I think DC did. I think DC takes it all. We were there at Audi Field, like I said, for the playoff game, and really just killed the Sea Dragons. They have Ben DiNucci, right? He used to play for the Cowboys. You know that name. Just completely trashed us up and down the field. I think the final score was like 16-45. So I think they're going to come in. Luis Perez is there in the South. What's cool, though, is both of the quarterbacks that are in this game both played in XFL 2020 as well. So it's really cool to have them come full circle, not for the teams they were with back then, but it's really cool that they both get to be in this championship game.
Have you seen, and has the league seen growth in the stands and in ratings from week? I've been watching with half an eye, but you've noticed ESPN and ABC are all over promoting this game this weekend. You'd be a dummy if you didn't know that it was on. So they can't fault them. How's the league gone that way? Off the field this year?
I think it's good. We've had a lot of the ESPN talent on. I know Darren was talking like, well, I haven't seen it. Like, ESPN goes crazy talking all this on Twitter. You have all the different personalities. I had Matt Berry on last week on my show doing a preview. He said ESPN's thrilled right now. You know, developing. This is really just a trial run, right? What time slots work good? What networks work good, what days of the week. And then I'm excited to see year 2, because this is really just trial and error across the league. I know we've had 2 years to get ready for this, but it really is, okay, let's get this Let's get on the field. Let's see what this looks like, what this feels like. But ESPN is already talking about utilizing the audio, the way that the audio and rules review is, and kind of parlaying that into their NFL coverage as well. So again, XFL, Skycam, people have wanted to see the kickoff transition to the NFL for years as well, but this is another XFL innovation that you'll probably be seeing in the NFL soon.
Actually, I'd like to go there. What are, in 90 seconds or less, the innovations, the innovative rules the XFL has that the other leagues should adopt?
Well, the big thing is the transparency, right? So you have obviously the play calling, you're here in the OC, you're here in the DC. Quarterbacks have, comms in their helmets, but a set number of players on the offense all have that. The mics go up until the ball is snapped, where normally in the NFL, they cut that at like 11 or 15, whatever that is. You're able to see for, rule replays and, challenges and things like that. All the officials talking with Dean Blandino, who is obviously with, he's been with Fox in the past, and he's the rules, VP of rules, whatever, but you're able to hear all the transactions the whole way through. So when there's a bad call, a missed call, you could even have Dean say, yeah, that should have been a call. They should have challenged that. We would have overturned it. There's a lot more transparency.
I'm sure you're not, I don't think, you're all excited about the game. You're not thinking about the CFL versus XFL, the hate, because to be honest with you, you mentioned some people there. If you're a football fan, you'll be watching. End of story. The people that get unhinged about CFL tells me more about them than it does about anything wrong with the XFL. Like, you enjoy it, but you're not dragged down by it, I would hope, Reid.
No, it's interesting. I've always said CFL and XFL have a lot more in common than people think. Obviously, we have the USFL here. They're already, you get enough on that and kind of these competing leagues with Fox and NBC and then Redbird and ESPN, ABC, all this kind of stuff. So CFL, you feel like the underdog. You feel like the NFL doesn't care, and we've always been kicked down, and we're the inferior product, even though we know it's a better product. XFL, it's the same thing. There's no one in the XFL world that's poo-pooing on the CFL at all. We're all in this. We want players to succeed. We want their stories and to be able to broadcast that out. And they can play for many years and support their families. There's no one in the XFL that's making the millions that you get all mad about the NFL players. Like, sign up. We enjoy it. A lot of CFL people are watching the XFL this year and enjoying it. It's really could be much worse. I think it's fine pizza, to answer your question from before.
How about that?
Yeah. More football, the better. More pizza, the better. As my hockey people say, more hockey, the better. Again, for the people that are just getting unhinged about these rival leagues, it says a lot about them and their insecurities more than anything. And finally, the Seattle Kraken. How are we feeling? What a story.
Not good. So I have tickets to the Saturday game back here at home, and again, I sell them. Obviously, I'm going to be at the XFL game, and I kind of said goodbye to the season last night. I watched the game. We've played like crap the last, we played terrible on the road. We played terrible at home. We got a couple, and I know the guy took the puck to the face and all of that, and that was, kind of took him out for a while. But I do think that our season has come to an end. It's very sad, but hey, who would have thought?
Did you stand in your seats last night and have some sort of ceremony at the end of the game? Like here in Sunrise, Leafs fans sat in their seats and cried after Game 3. I had never seen that before. I don't think I've seen. Not from grown men anyways. You didn't have one of those scenes, did you?
No, but they said there was over 10,000 people at Climate Pledge last night watching the game on TV because obviously they were in Dallas. So if you want to talk about a new NHL, market and franchise and this Seattle embracing all of that, 10,000 people. Mike Bettenover with KJR tweeted out that about 10,000 people came in. All the concessions were half price, and it was a rocking time. It was fun. Bowie was there. We kind of have a love-hate relationship with Bowie in Seattle, our mascot, but it was fun. 10,000 people in Seattle coming out on a Thursday night to watch the Kraken play. Not too bad.
Oh, yeah. Mike Benton's a longtime friend of mine. Benton on the mic. Okay, Reid, thanks for the time and squeezing us in. Travel safely and enjoy the game, and let's do it again soon.
Thanks, Rod.
Our good buddy Reid Johnson from the MarkCast. Sports update coming up next, maybe a bit of an audience takeover. And the Moose rejoins us in hour 2, plus Farhan Lalji. We're live on the Game Plus television network across, we're in Seattle too, What is it there? It's been a while since I think it's LTD cable. picks us up there in Oregon and the state of Washington. We're also on the radio, WQEE Atlanta. We're in podcast form and streaming.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
Canadian Centre for Men and Families Alberta supports men through relationship turmoil and breakdown. Men face the realities of relationship breakdown in a way that is unique. These men need a safe place to belong and have meaningful conversations that help equip them to create a better future for themselves and their families. CCMF Alberta programs responsibly address the results of trauma on men's mental health. CCMF Alberta, because children need their fathers too.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Will there be a Game 6 at that place, FLA Live Arena? What are the Leafs fans still doing here? Go home! I don't know if we're going to have Moose here or not, but we don't need him. We have plenty to get to, beginning with a sports update. American Hockey League playoffs last night, which we do talk about the CFL lacking exposure and visibility in Canada. The AHL is nothing more than a rumor for the most part. Division finals last night, Rochester beat Toronto 4-3. Americans lead the best-of-5 series 1-0. Hershey over Hartford 3-2 in overtime. These are all game ones. And Coachella Valley beat the Calgary Wranglers 6-3 in the Saddle Dome. How about that? National Lacrosse League. Right, thank you, Clark. National Lacrosse League playoffs last night. Semifinals opened. There's some great. Are you following this? Or is it not big enough time for you? Colorado beat Calgary 8-7 in Ball Arena in Denver last night. So that means the Mammoth lead 1-0. Now they're going to Calgary for Game 2 Saturday night, and Calgary better hope there's a Game 3. It was their choice to open on the road, the Roughnecks. It's cool how the NLL does it if you care to look into it. And it is Toronto and Buffalo in the East Final. Julio. WHL tonight. Seattle at Winnipeg. Hello, Winnipeg. Did you get your ticket and get down to Canada Life Center tonight? I can't make a prediction. I've got great friends on both teams. May the best team win. Games 1 and 2 streamed only on the CHL app, and then games 3 to 7 will be on TSN. Somebody asked yesterday who was calling the games on TSN. I don't know, bro. I'm not the TV guy. Sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. In theaters now, I screw this up every day. In theaters June 2nd, but it's getting closer. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales returns for the next chapter of the Oscar-winning Spider-Verse saga, an epic adventure that will transport Brooklyn's full-time friendly neighborhood Spider-Man across the multiverse to join forces with Gwen Stacy and a new team of spider people to face off with a villain more powerful than anything they have ever encountered. In theaters June 2nd, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Text us now, 902-518-3033. The Moose isn't here. Let's talk about him. Well, he's not here to defend himself. Ton of text messages have come in. Thank you, everybody. Chris Bird in King City, Ontario says the Kraken had a good season. No one ever expected them to make it this far. I've just now, maybe it's the mellow Florida vibes. I've just finally now realized that if you don't win a championship, you can actually walk it back and go, we did have a good year. Because for my whole life, I thought I didn't think that way. But maybe that is the way to go. From Metal Shingle Guy on the 902 line, he says, it's spicy for sure. There's already quite a few guys getting a look. Tuama looks good in my books. Let's go, Defenders. I couldn't name you any of the players in tomorrow's XFL championship. I tried to look up Darnell Sankey. Didn't see him on Arlington's roster, but last minute of play in hour 1. The poll question for Key Auto Group today, will you be watching the XFL championship game Saturday night? 63% on Twitter saying no, they're not going to be watching it, but that's coming down. The yeses are coming up. I feel like I've sold some people on this. Do we have a YouTube? Body of work? Oh, 62% no. Yes is climbing. From Dougal Cameron in Calgary says, I didn't renew my season tickets this year, partly because Bo Levi's in Hamilton, but I will go to McMahon the game Bo plays there this year. They're not coming this year. Don't ask. From Bill in Brampton, he says, growing up in the 60s, we didn't need the NFL. The CFL had identity guys, played for years, the same team, Joe Zuger, Willie Bethea, Russ Jackson, Ron Stewart. It ain't the 60s anymore, bro. Hour 2 coming up after this.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Selection, service, price, parts, and knowledge. That's the Woody's RV World difference. With 7 locations in Western Canada, there's always one nearby. Visit us today or at woodysrv.com. If adventure awaits, Woody's RV World is with you all the way.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Canadian Centre for Men and Families Alberta supports men through relationship turmoil and breakdown. Men face the realities of relationship breakdown in a way that is unique. These men need a safe place to belong and have meaningful conversations that help equip them to create a better future for themselves and their families. CCMF Alberta programs responsibly address the results of trauma on men's mental health. CCMF Alberta, because children need their fathers too.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Now,
I say it every day with the people that I'm around. It's not that people are dumb, maybe ignorant, and ignorant means unaware of how things work. We've really realized this in the last 6 months about a lot of things.
How about that?
I'm not criticizing you. I've just never met anybody like that before. Everybody in my circle likes a little bit of everything, or a lot of everything. But that's the whole idea of diversifying, right? Variety is the spice of life.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hour 2 is always so much fun. Here on Game Plus Television, WQEE. I had all these things in my mind to talk about. I was thinking about in the break, and then my whole mind just went poof, blank. But we got some great comments here from our viewers. So thank you. And the Moose has rejoined us. He's in our Airdrie studio. I'm in the South Florida studio. And I guess, I wonder if the Greek freaks watching right now, Georgie Nitsos from the Four Seasons Sports Palace, they bring you overtime here on the RP show every day. I know one of his staff's watching, Jen, and she writes in, she says, I'd rather watch the NLL playoffs than the XFL. Let's not turn this into an XFL bashing day. That's the poll question today. Will you be watching the XFL championship? Yes or no? It's Saturday night, 8 Eastern on ABC. The DC Defenders versus the Arlington Renegades. We don't need to get pissy. Leon, it's a yes or no question, man. Why you got to get pissy? Not that Jen did or anybody else. I'm just saying. The WHL Championship opens tonight. I'm following that very closely. The Centennial Cup, it's day 2. My Battleford Stars opened with a 4-1 win, and I really would love to be there. But you know what, Darren? I know that you're a believer in everything happens for a reason, and the universe wanted me here in South Florida for round 2 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and please, baby hockey Jesus, the Eastern Final, and maybe the Stanley Cup involving the Florida Panthers. I know I'm opening on a monologue here, but I will land the plane. Stay with me. Bill, watching in Brantford, Ontario, said we didn't need the NFL in the 60s. We had the CFL with established teams, blah, 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 right? We had stars. He mentioned George Reid and all those great names, Joe Zuger. Well, here's the thing, because all these people are writing in, Darren, every day. They're saying, Rod, I just discovered your show, just found out about you. What's your deal? So I got to say it again. I'm not doing it to be arrogant or boastful or talk about me, but you asked. I didn't watch the NFL growing up because I grew up on a farm, and this is a fact. And my brother's watching right now. He'd be nodding his head. We grew up working the fields, 3 channels. One was French. We didn't have the NFL. I loved Hockey Night in Canada, and I loved Blue Jays baseball, Fergie Oliver, and the Montreal Expos with Dave Van Horn. That's all I needed. Tim Wallach, Gary Carter, Dave Steve. That's it. I didn't even know about the NFL until, and I often wonder and ask people, how did you get into this league? How did you get into, because you form your love for a team usually as a child. And it wasn't until I went away to college. I know, and people say to me, you're a hayseed. I never really understood. You stubble jumper, you hayseed. I'm like, yeah, I am. What's wrong with that? So I went to Calgary and discovered the Dallas Cowboys on television. It was 1990. Troy Aikman. He's cool. My buddies were all into the NFL. So the Cowboys were getting good. I like Troy Aikman. That's why I cheered for them. But I grew up like this gentleman in Brantford. I didn't watch the NFL, but I got into it. And the NFL has overtaken the CFL in Canada. That is a simple fact. And as far as the XFL, and I became a CFL fan when I was always a CFL fan. But when I became the voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 1999 for 20 years, I kind of became a football guy. I had to learn it. But I'm open-minded, and I'll watch the XFL. You, Darren, your allegiances were formed Hockey Night in Canada, right, with the Leafs? And what was your Titans allegiance? Where was it? Television. It's all television. It's all ball bearings these days. It's television, right? We don't have sound from Darren. We do not have sound from Darren.
Okay.
Now we got
Check
you.
1, 2. You got me?
Got you.
Well, it didn't happen until the Titans went to the Super Bowl. You know, they weren't on TV. I didn't have NFL football on TV every week, but you had the big games Monday night. You had the playoffs. You know, that was big. You only had the NFL package. Only the rich people had the NFL package. At least that's what it seemed like. If you had the big satellite dish and the expensive package, you got NFL Sunday ticket. Otherwise, you just got a game on Monday night and a game on Sunday night and maybe the odd afternoon game. That was it. So when the Titans went to the Super Bowl and they were on their run, I started hearing about all their players, right? I heard about Frank Wycheck and Steve McNair and Eddie George and Derek Mason, and you fall in love with them because you see them on TV and you hear their stories. So, you know, the CFL was what was on TV all the time, the doubleheaders on Friday Night Football and everything else. That's what I really grew up with.
Well, it's kind of, what's right in front of your face is what people get into. But people are really loving this discussion I'm seeing. And by the way, last hour, you might want to rewind because it is a Football Friday, and we did talk about our top CFL storylines for the year. Moose and I both agreed that it was Bo Levi, can he lead Hamilton to the Grey Cup and win it? And bonus points if they beat Calgary in the Grey Cup. But we've moved on. From Finkel, watching on the stream, says, I'm a CFL fan, and I can't wait for Saturday's XFL championship. I'm not a hater, and I think that these guys should have a chance to make money outside of the NFL and support their families, too. What a novel concept.
Yeah.
From Ben Tomlinson, he says, we're in the global sports marketplace now, which is one of Darren's favorite topics. From Jeff Cabillas in Winnipeg, he says, my dad got me into the NFL. Chicago Bears were the first team I started following the year they won the Super Bowl. There's a lot of great comments here. From Rob Scott, he's in BC, and I like his comments. He says, there's Western Canada, and then there's Western Canada. You can't compare Saskatchewan and BC, for example. No, you can't, but very good friend of mine, Ed Willis. I don't know if he's still writing for the Vancouver province or not, but he's in the Hall of Fame, Canadian Football Hall of Fame media wing, and we used to spend a lot of time together. He covered the Lions. He covered all the sports for the province, but he said BC is a distinct society. He goes, the Rocky Mountains are like a vortex. You come over that plane and you just get sucked into this BC mentality.
How about that?
Well, guess what? The Maritimes are a distinct society. Quebec, we've been told since we were kids they're a distinct society. Prairie people are a distinct society. which I go furthermore into. Were you with me yesterday when I was saying, how could George Anitzis at the Four Seasons say Leafs fans hate Florida Panthers fans more than Boston fans? Because I didn't think it was possible, but we hate Panthers fans more than. Why you got to hate it all? I had this discussion with Serena, and I said, how could you hate Panthers fans? Everybody's walking around here, at least the circles that I'm in and we're in. We're in the second round because we manifested it. Everybody's chill. I'm not joking. Nobody's in a bad mood here. Nobody that I've seen. So I would say anybody that hates the Panthers fans, that's a problem with you. The one thing that Serena's very upset about is how they all say that act like they've been Panthers fans forever. We talked about that in the meeting this morning, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, not everybody grew up like she did as Oilers fans. At least they're following now, but she has her own issues separate from George's issues. I don't understand why you would have any problem with it. Lee Harding from the Epoch Times newspaper says CFL schedule should be balanced between divisions as best they can. Anything else is just to save Toronto money so they can take a bus to Hamilton and save more. Calgary should see Bo this year. Jeff in Winnipeg says haters get a hate.
How about that?
Yes, they can. And from Glenn Erickson, golf and hockey guy in Medicine Hat, he says those 2 or 3 channels back in the day still gave us access to so many legends. Fergie Ulver, Tony Kubek, Dave Van Horn, Duke Snyder, Don Chevrier, Danny Gallivan, Dick Irvin. Yes, all those guys. I'm on such a roll here an hour or two, and I didn't plan to be. Any thoughts, Moose, on the RP train that's just blazing down the track here today?
Just keep going. It's awesome. I love it. I'm just sitting back here enjoying it, just like everybody else.
Well, I could go on and on and on, believe me. Jack in Vulcan, Alberta says back in the late 60s, either CTV or CBC used to run NFL games after the CFL season. That's when I became a Cowboys fan. Well, everybody has their own story. That's the other thing, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't want to go down. Well, I had a guy write me on Instagram the other day. He's having a tough time in life. A viewer on here on Game Plus, and he just said, Rod, I enjoy your show so much because you've overcome so much and you've got a great life and your show's so uplifting every day. And that meant a lot to me because I'm not trying to do that. I'm just talking about where my life focus is, and it's really awesome. And it helped that guy. And what I'm saying about that is why we got to fight, because I was doing a speech in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, March 21st, and the can went up on the back of the room, and the guy said, Rod, how do you feel about all the hate in society these days right now? Can we prevent it? And I said, it starts with you. The highest vibration there is love. So if somebody wants to watch the XFL Championship Saturday night, can we let them? If Darren wants to wear a tutu and walk down the Main Street Airdrie tonight, can we let him? You're not hurting anybody.
Right.
You know, why do we got to fight? Which is another thing. Next segment. It's 1:11. How about this? How about with this little soliloquy that I'm on right now?
Beautiful.
Visualize a positive outcome. And I have, and I'm getting it. I was saying this morning in a meeting that I feel like my tough times are over. The transition stage behind me. This is home. And I couldn't be happier, which reminds me, I'm going on a television show this afternoon, Darren, on The Parlay with a couple of guys you know, Sean McCormick and James Sharman. And they're bringing me on to talk about the Stanley Cup Playoffs. I'm doing all these shows nationally to talk about the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and stick with me. I want to know your take on this. See, I'll come on and talk about the Leafs and Panthers tonight. All of a sudden, I'm the Florida Panthers guy. I'll take that. Well, Sean wrote me back, and he said, are you going to the morning skates? Are you going to the scrums, post-game news conferences? And I haven't written him back yet, but here's your answer, Sean. How about no? I'm not. I was having lunch with Bill Lindsay the other day, and him and his wife, they laughed about that because the Panthers said, come on in. You can go to all these things. I'm like, I don't want to. Just give me a seat in the press box and I'm fine. I don't need to be around Matthew Tkachuk or Mitch Marner. They're just hockey players. I can form my own opinion. Now, you would be a little different because you're a Leaf fan. But I guess if you were given an all-access pass to the Stanley Cup Playoffs, would you take it all in? Or just be like me and go to the game and watch and go home?
I would go to the morning skates for sure, because I love nothing more than the visits at the morning skates and having coffee. So I would be there. I just like being at the rink. It's one of my favorite things to do in the morning, is be there with a coffee and watching the morning skate, and I would go to the games. Those would be the two things I would do. I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't go reporting on practice or trying to be down in the underneath, mingling with the players or any of that stuff. But I would be up in the stands watching morning skate, having my coffee.
You see the light in my eyes because a story just came to mind. Number one, John Ohm, he says, please send me the link to that interview this afternoon, Rod. Well, it's 2:15 Eastern, 1:15 Winnipeg time. And I don't know where you find the parlay. It's Parleh. Can you help a brother out? Moose, how would he find the parlay? I don't even know.
Yeah, you'll be able to find it. I think the website is called Homestand. So if you go to Homestand, you'll be able to find it. And I think they'll stream there. At the very least, I think it'll be on YouTube. So you'll be able to find it.
Parlay, Parleh. I have no idea. Clark just put it in. Thanks, Clark. From Nelson, the VP of Sim Events, he says, as a non-media type, you got to soak it all in. Well, let me tell you a story, because yesterday we were laughing, Munzie and I. I said, Munzie, I've known you a long time. And he laughed. 1997. Story time, everybody. Gather around. It was my last trip for me and my dad, for me as a single guy. And we were going to go to Edmonton and watch the Oilers and the Stars, because he was working for the Stars. And I guess I was with the Pats at the time. And Munzie, I believe, with the PA Raiders. And Munzie, I think he invited himself to go. Doesn't matter. But he's not going to like me tell this story. But we got a cheap hotel room. Is the Imperial 400 still around? Because that's where we stayed. And a couple things. Number one, it was 2 a.m. Munzie and I were still up. And I hadn't traveled with my dad in a long time. It was 2 a.m. and my dad still wasn't back in the room. And I'm like, oh, my God, he's dead. We're in a big town, 1 million people. My dad's had his throat slit, his wallet. It was no cell phones, right? I'm like, I'm calling the hospitals. I'm calling the police department. My dad's dead. He's dead. Munzie's, calm down, Rod. I hadn't traveled with my dad for a long time. 2 a.m., you know that hotel room door?
Yeah.
Dad comes in. And I'm sitting on the end of the bed. Rocking. I think my dad's dead. What are we going to do? How am I going to tell Mom? Dad drops a bunch of cash on the bed, and I was at the casino. What's wrong with you? That's where you go? And he'd won this big stack. There's more to the story. And there's another story where we got robbed in Calgary in the 03-04 NHL draft. Talk about that more when I come back with Moose.
A tease.
And we'll get back on track with these football stories. Oh, yeah. All these stories are flooding me now. Which reminded me why I don't go to morning skates anymore. That's next. It's supposed to be Football Friday on Game Plus Television, WQEE, your favorite podcast platform, and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Isn't that place gorgeous? Steamy one down here, Sunrise, Florida. Will there be a Game 6 in that barn come Sunday? We'll know tonight as the Leafs and the Panthers meet in Game 5 at Scotiabank Arena. Darren Moose DuPont is with us. It's a Friday, and we get a little goofy on Fridays. As you can see, 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us in the Florida studio. And you saw the ad, maybe you didn't, for Woody's RV World in the break. They and Engelheim are putting together the RP Show Summer Football Road Trip, Sask Calgary, June 24th weekend. Get your tickets at rodpeterson.com. Woody's RV World wants you to know, for their Saskatoon location, save 15% off all regularly priced and in-stock parts and accessories right now. Plus, each purchase qualifies for a draw entry on the Summer Football Road Trip. But it doesn't end there. All RV purchases qualify for 10 times the draws. You go buy an RV, you'll get 10 entries into the draw, which will be made on June 17th. Did you see my Instagram story, Moose, of the RV park that I drove by yesterday? Yeah, what did you think of that? I set it to the music
Acres?
Eminem. Yes, I think it was Shady Pines.
But
I mean, you can't swing a sock without hitting a RV park around here. And I love the signs that say age restricted, which incidentally, I mean, I've lived enough. I've lived probably 9 lives at least. And for whatever reason, keep coming back for more. Serena, frankly, can't wait to move into she likes my age. She teases me about how old I am, but pretty soon we'll be eligible for one of those seniors facilities, and we're quite happy about that. But anyways, here's the reason why at Old Codger, at the age of 50, I don't need to go to morning skate. And so just to finish up on that story, that same trip when I thought my dad died, which he didn't, thank God, but we were at the morning skate of the Dallas Stars and Oilers, and my dad was talking to a scout. Munzie, will apologize for me telling this story. It's not too bad. But Mitch Messier, a cousin of Mark Messier, was a scout for Dallas at the time. So my dad was leaned over in the stands talking to Mitch, like, because my dad's hard of hearing, right? He's just leaning over. And when Mitch was done talking, Dad leaned back, boom, he bumped Munsey. Munsey was leaned right in listening too. Bump. Can you just stay over there? Anyways, that was the infamous save Curtis Joseph on Joe Nieuwendyk at one end, and Todd Marchand came back and scored at the other. I don't know if you've seen the highlights of that, but anyways.
I remember those days well. Those were great days, Oilers and Stars.
Interestingly enough, again, it's Football Friday. The poll question today, we'll mention it again. Will you be watching the XFL Championship game on Saturday night? It's on ABC, 8 p.m. The DC Defenders versus the Arlington something-somethings. I'm joking. It's the Arlington Renegades, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's the yes is coming up and the no's going down, man. 60% saying now, no, they won't watch it. But on Twitter, what's the YouTube vote, Clark? Similar thing happening there? He's checking. Yeah, what's the YouTube vote on that? Last 61%, hovering around the same. When you buy with Key Auto Group, they are with you from start to finish, offering you the top-tier service you deserve, all just a click away at keyautogroup.ca. Yeah, I said I'll be watching. Darren said he'll be watching, but that's us. We're football fans. And the interesting thing about that is I think we're convincing people to watch. Part of the big thing here, Darren, if any budding marketers are watching, how many people didn't even know it was on until we started talking about it, right? And now they're like, oh. Vancouver Electric Football Network writes in with an idea of how the CFL should change all its standing. I don't know what he's saying. We're not the ones to talk to. He says the CFL could seed division winners 1 and 2, and then a playoff wild cards 3 to 6 in order of records. 7 to 9 missed the playoffs. Would make for more marquee matchups and tighter standing. Do you think we haven't talked about that 87 ways away from Sunday? I have flip-flop on both sides of that argument. Initially, I was against it. Now I'm for it. And guess what? Third option, I realized they don't care what we think. They're not changing it.
Yeah.
That is a waste of time. Oh, Jeff the Stamps fan, thank you for the reminder. He asked me who got robbed in Calgary. You want to hear his story?
Yes.
My dad and I were rooming again. It was the NHL draft. My dad and I were rooming. It was a different life for me pre-recovery. Let's put it that way. So my dad always slept with his Stanley Cup ring on. He always slept with it on, always. And he had hearing aids, and soon I'll probably have them too. But anyways, another night. Well, he came in at 2 a.m. in Edmonton that night from the casino, sober as a judge. Because my dad was in recovery like me. I came in at 2:30 in the morning, not sober as a judge. You know what I'm saying? We're staying at that VP Inn. You've stayed there, right across from McMahon Stadium. NHL draft, where there's the doors open to the outside. There's a door to the hallway and a door to the outside. Well, I stumble into the room like Barney Rubble. Turn on the light, see what bed Dad's in, and jump on the other. Get up in the morning, and my dad's like, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. And I'm like, what? He goes, my briefcase has been stolen. And it had all of his scouting notes. It had cash. It had his pass for the draft. It had everything in it. I'm like, Dad, where's your Stanley Cup ring? And he's like, had it. Thank God he slept with it. And somebody had broke it in. I don't know if it was before I got back to the room or after. Who knew? Because as I recall, it was kind of foggy out that night. And we ended up finding like a day or two later his briefcase in a bush a couple blocks away. And Dad's like, hey, if they take a couple hundred. Yeah, well, do you know anything about crime? All they were looking for was the easy pickings, the cash, and they had like $200 cash. And I want to say this was about 20 years ago, but he kept his Stanley Cup ring. But had he taken it off and put it on the drawer, gone. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, LOL, the Village Park Inn, classic. Sorry to name them, but it's like literally, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Go after the hotel? You just can't. It's funny, I met this new guy down here, Nick Davis in South Florida. We're going to end up doing some work together, I think, but he's a Leaf fan from Toronto. Darren, he's one of those.
Oh,
and I introduced him to Thad the other night. Thad's the Panthers fan who invited us to the Panthers watch party tonight. And I said, Thad, meet Nick. He is everything that the Leafs fans are. Loud, obnoxious, brash. And then Nick kind of looked at me. I'm just joking. But he told me that his jersey got stolen by the maid. So he was like, is there anywhere that I can buy a Leafs jersey down here or anything Leafs? I said, how about no? What do you think, it's Canadian Tire in Prince George? No. So he wore a blue and white suit. What was my point? Did I have a point?
Squirrel.
I better jump back. Yeah, squirrel moment. Well, Argo Fluffy in Toronto says, I'm waiting for Rod to get his Canadian Rink Football League going. It was the Canadian Arena League of Football, CAF, CALF, Canadian Arena League of Football. But I've moved on. That was like 4 years ago, bro. If you haven't noticed, I'm now licensed for business in the state of Florida and the United States of America. I'm not talking about an arena league nope. From Finkel. He writes and he says, hey, Rod, have you heard any news about the CFL receiving another broadcast deal to cover the rest of the games in the USA? I hope whomever it is includes a streaming package. I haven't heard anything about that. And Mr. Johnny Toronto, Darren, Mr. Joe Business that you are, how about this? I'm not digging into this stuff because it annoys people. I'm not going to be the guy. You know what? Let David Naylor or maybe Farhan knows. That's not my beat.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about this decision? 34 games, as yet, none others, and not the Grey Cup on television in the United States. We haven't heard where those games will be aired. But what I heard was $1 million CBS Sports Network ponied up to the Canadian Football League. So it's $100,000 per team plus $100,000 in the league office. Good deal or not for the CFL that maybe half the games are going to be aired as opposed to what they were on ESPN. But ESPN didn't pay anything. You got $1 million for CBS Sports Network. Ain't that a conundrum?
I think you look at where you're at, right? I mean, it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and it all depends on what your objectives are too. Like, I'm a big fan of the long game of it's a better move to put your product in front of a lot of people and, you know, grow the fan base to then grow dollars. But they're looking for money. And if that's the objective right now is they need to get cash flow moving, then this is a good deal for the Canadian Football League. It puts money directly in your pockets. Still credible. It's still a credible network. But I think a big concern will be, where does the Grey Cup air in the U.S.? And can they get it in front of people on television? Because I think that's really important to make sure the Grey Cup is available down there.
As you know, a lot of times it comes down to who has the leverage in these deals. Gary in BC says, wow, that's crazy. I don't even know because I'm told so often, Rod, you don't know anything. I don't believe it, but I just shut my mouth. You know, the TSN deal, I don't think was good for the CFL. But the business people will say, Rod, there would be no CFL if it wasn't for TSN, so shut your mouth. Okay, I'll just go over here. This is really no different. And it annoys me that the CFL 20 years ago, when it was all on all the networks, was regarded as big time. And now it's not. But at least you got your check from TSN, and at least you got your check from CBS Sports Network. You know what? It's their league. Do whatever the hell you want. Clark is asking people, what are they watching tonight / this weekend? Clark says he's going to the Shania Twain concert in Saskatoon.
Bingo!
That's tonight, Clark? Let me guess. Wife's idea? Oh. He says he's a big Shania fan. But I've seen her multiple times, and I'm not. I love me some Shania Twain, trust me. But I'm not the biggest music guy. If I see an act once, I'm good.
You're good. Yeah.
But that's just me. Anyways, Moose, we'll see you back here for overtime. Farhan is next, and maybe he has some intel on the U.S. television deal. That should be interesting. We're live on the Game Plus television network. Tell us, Channel 924 in BC and Alberta. On the radio in Atlanta, WQEE. Obviously, podcast form and live streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Selection, service, price, parts, and knowledge. That's the Woody's RV World difference. With 7 locations in Western Canada, there's always one nearby. Visit us today or at woodysrv.com. If adventure awaits, Woody's RV World is with you all the way.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Broadcasting live from South Florida. Look at that lonely guy. Game's in Toronto, bro. Game 5 tonight, but will there be a Game 6 Sunday in Sunrise? We'll find out. But we're talking football today, and let's bring in Farhan Lalji from TSN. This is going to go fast. So Farhan, good to see. Are you down weight again? Are you healthy? What's up? You running?
No, just your focus is on the fact that I haven't shaved, so you're not seeing that. You're not really getting a true gauge of my weight right now. So
how about that?
I'm right about holding steady right now. So.
Okay, thank you. Lots to get to with you, man. So let's jump right into it. I don't know if you saw the U.S. Well, all the viewers, but particularly the U.S. viewers want to know what's the TV deal with CBS Sports Network. I'm told you got the details. Is every game going to be on television down here? They're getting antsy.
No, there's 40 games that the league has put on, so 40 of 92. So they're still looking at other solutions for the remaining games, right? But the fact is, from a financial standpoint, you lose distribution, but you gain dollars for fewer games, right? So I think they are hoping to put something together. So we'll see what it looks like. It doesn't sound like ESPN is going to be in the mix for the smaller number of games, but I would imagine that there's going to be some other streaming service or something like that. And I was impressed to see the numbers for CBC Sports. They're available in 61 million households in the U.S. So there are a large percentage of cable subscribers and others that get the station. So I think if you want to find games, you're going to be able to find a lot of the main games, and you're also going to see those big games, whether it be the Labor Day games or the Touchdown Atlantic and all of those types of things. Those are all obviously going to be part of the games you see.
Okay, well, I just because I have CBS Sports Network, so what you're telling me is I'll get it on television, and if I can purchase streaming, I'll get every game. That's all I was worried about. Okay. On the eve of main training camps opening on Sunday, what is your number one CFL story this year?
Well, there's a few, but first, I want to see what the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to look like offensively. Just obviously, we know the big change in quarterback from Cody Fajardo to Trevor Harris, and see how that takes. I want to see what that offensive line looks like. They weren't really able to make significant upgrades to a group that needed upgrading. Yeah, they replaced the center, but that's a marginal upgrade. And I think they believe that new system, quarterback getting the ball out earlier, health, all those things, they're going to need a lot of things to line up, as well as some internal improvement, right? Because if Phil Blake doesn't necessarily start at one of the tackle spots, then you're going to wind up having to get two Americans that probably haven't done this before that are going to wind up in those spots. So I want to see what that O-line looks. And then also you don't have Kean Schaefer-Baker, so that's going to affect the receiving core. So I want to see what that offense under Kelly Jeffrey looks like early. And Edmonton's another one, right? I mean, a team that has got to win, right? They haven't won a home game since 2019. And you look at Taylor Cornelius, who's got all the physical tools. He's now got a season and a half under his belt, and now he's got an elite receiving core around him. So everything is set up for this young man to succeed. So I want to see what that looks like. So Saskatchewan to start, Edmonton second, and then maybe a little bit of Chad Kelly sprinkled in third.
There are it's hard to limit them to even 10. There's more than 10 great stories in the CFL this year, including, can the BC Lions win without Nathan Rourke? The pundits say no. What do you think?
Well, look, I think that people are going to look at Vernon Adams, and they're going to expect him to be Nathan Rourke, and anything short of that is a failure, which is ridiculous, right? Like, I think you need to look at VA, see how he's performing, see if the team is winning, and look at his numbers compared to the rest of the quarterbacks in the league, because what Nathan Rourke did last year, no one's doing again, flat out, especially not this year. So, get that out of your system for comparables. But I think that, Vernon's had a renewed commitment to his craft, the game, all of it, right? I mean, sometimes when you sign the big contract, you can get ahead of yourself a little bit. I'm not saying that is what happened, but I do see a difference in him. I've gotten to know him pretty well. And he's not worried about the noise. He's not worried about Nathan comparisons. He's just worried about being the best quarterback he can be and kind of getting his game back where it needs to be and his hierarchy in the league where it needs to be, right? So he's going to have a whole off season. He spent a lot of time talking to Jordan McSimic. Last year he came in and things were pretty rushed, right? Because it just wasn't going to work without him just treading water even. So I think getting a full training camp, getting a full off season, the quarterback room will be pretty good with Dane Evans and Dom Davis. So I think he's in a good situation to succeed, right? So I think you're going to see a better version of Vernon Adams this year than you saw last year. And I think if that happens, I don't see a reason why the Lions aren't in the playoffs this year.
Oh, yeah. He's awesome. I'm pulling for him, and I hope that is the motivation that he needs to succeed. Arlen Bruce III's watching. He says, hey, Coach, are Chris Jones and Orlando Steinauer on the hot seat for 2023? AB's all over. Every year he asks if O is on the hot seat. Now he's added Chris Jones. Do you think they are?
I don't think so. I don't think so, right? Look, they're paying Chris Jones a lot of money. So you can't get into the situation where they are with their football ops cap when you're dealing with the coaches that are already paying out. I think Chris Jones has got a little more runway. Look, if they finish 2-16, like that's a whole different question, right? But I don't think going into the start of the season, Chris Jones is on the hot seat. Talk to me again at Labor Day, but I do think this team's going to get better. We mentioned the receiving core being as good as it is, and Dylan Mitchell's a young emerging star. Kevin Brown's a young emerging star. You've got some help that you've been able to acquire on defense. So I do think this team's going to get better, right? I don't have as many questions around them as some other people do. And as far as Orlando is concerned, I don't think he's in the hot seat either, right? Because the strength of the Hamilton organization is its consistency. And they gave Orlando a lot to keep him here because there was a lot of, other interests pulling at him. And they had to make sure that they put him in the right position. So, not only that, you're seeing Jeff Reinbold come back. You're seeing Scott Milanovich getting added to the mix and things like that. They've got 13 coaches on staff. They're investing more. I know there's a football ops cap, but they're doing everything they can. They spent a lot of money this offseason. You saw the first casualty of that with the Braylon Addison release, but they're going all in. So, again, I don't see a scenario where they're going to struggle a lot. And there is just so much respect for Orlando in that building with the caretaker and with Scott Mitchell. I don't think Orlando's going anywhere. I mean, you'd have to have another really bad year for us to revisit this next year, but I think he's pretty safe.
I think we have 2 minutes, but I'm dying to ask you. Your bookshelf looks eerily similar to Darren Dreger's. Did TSN send you guys to IKEA with a gift card, or what's the deal? Does it have to be matching?
I did go to IKEA to get this. There's no doubt about it. I don't have the little lights underneath, but I've got light coming in at me, so. We probably have a completely different selection of books. He doesn't have a University of Washington helmet. I know you guys think it's Winnipeg. It's not. It's University of Washington.
I don't.
Whatever other trinkets. And this, if SFU doesn't reinstate the football program, that's moving. You can put a Rod Pedersen hat in there, and that's something else that I don't think that Darren Dreger has. So that's the other thing going on.
Wonderful segue, by the way, and thanks for the offer. I may take you up on that. Assume I just landed from Mars, and a lot of people think that I have. Don't know anything about the SFU situation. What can you sum up in 60 seconds on that story?
Well, the university tried to kill the program. The alumni and a group of stakeholders fought back, including Amar Doman of the BC Lions, and we fought back in ways that they just were stunned. It's caused unbelievable reputational damage to the school, and now we lost this court injunction, but the university has now said that they are open to bringing the program back and making applications for youth sports for 2024. There's a special advisor in place who, in the beginning, when they said they were going to do that, was designed to further kill the program. But now I think it's going to be a legitimate process with a legitimate person. And I think this has a chance. So we continue to battle. Hopefully we have some exhibition games in 2023, and we're in Canada West playing in 2024.
Oh, wow. Wow. So that's best case scenario is preseason games this year. Non-sanctioned games?
Non-conference games, yeah. So the NAIA schedule we had is not likely. We can't get put into a youth sports conference now. It's too short notice. But there are teams with buys in the front half of the season. So I think there's a chance we could, if they reinstate for 2023, which would have to happen pretty quick, we could do that. But it sounds like the university at the very least is committed to 2024 and making application for us to get into youth sports.
A wonderful football. Yeah, of course. I get it. Wonderful football update. Farhan, thank you for fitting us in. I appreciate it so much. And enjoy the hockey and the football.
All right, take care. Thanks for having me, bud. It's been a long time.
It has been far too long. Since the CFL Combine, by the way, which is funny. He walked up to me at the field house in Edmonton and said, don't tell me you came all the way from Florida for this. I'm like, sure. Overtime is next. With Moose, live on Game Plus Television, TELUS Channel 924 in Alberta, NBC, WQEE Radio, your favorite podcast platform and streaming.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, this is it. And just before we bring in Moose in overtime for the Four Seasons Sports Palace, a quick sports update here for Landmark Cinemas. Joseph Wall will start Game 5 for the Leafs against the Florida Panthers tonight. The rookie goalie's strong performance in Toronto's 2-1 win on Wednesday kept the Leafs' playoff hopes alive. Panthers up 3-1. Hoping to avoid the series coming back here to Sunrise on Sunday, Game 6. The Oilers and Vegas Golden Knights will each be without a top defenseman when they face off in Game 5 tonight in their Western Conference second-round series. The Oilers' Darnell Nurse and the Knights' Alex Pietrangelo have both been suspended a game each for their actions in Game 4. Series is 2-2. And Jays pitcher Chris Bassett will take the mound as Toronto hosts the Atlanta Braves in a series opener at Rogers Center. After consecutive losses in Philly, the Blue Jays had a day off yesterday and are back in Toronto for a 10-game homestand. In theaters now, Landmark Cinema's Renfield. In this modern monster tale of Dracula's loyal servant, Nicholas Hoult stars as Renfield, the tortured aide to history's most narcissistic boss, Dracula, played by Oscar winner Nicolas Cage. In theaters now. But I'll say this, Moose, you went to Mario and Luigi, the Mario brothers, right? And I just saw today, I don't get this. I don't understand it. Maybe you can explain to me. I just saw a headline, Ryan O'Radio posted it to Facebook from WQEE, that the president of Disney praised Mario Brothers, the movie. I didn't click on what the story was. I'm only guessing is that they did the Mario Brothers story unbelievable justice. That's all I can think. The movie makers. Is it that good?
It's pretty good. I mean, it's not one of my favorite movies of all time. It maybe won't even be one of my favorite movies of the year. I'm not sure. But it was good. I really enjoyed it. It was full of nostalgia for us older Mario fans who grew up with, the NES, and grew up with Mario and then got into the Mario Kart thing and all of that. It was very cool, very nostalgic. So worth the watch, even if you're an adult.
Hey, I appreciate this. I was wondering where this guy was today. Larry Sweet has checked in. I wondered where you were, Big Sweeter. Watching in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He's written in on the 902 line, and he says, Rod, speaking of having a Stanley Cup ring not stolen, you need to talk with Chris, that's his son, concerning his 08 Grey Cup ring stolen when with the Riders. Fortunately, Calgary got another ring for him, thanks to Huff. Oh, believe me, I know the story. He had his house broken into in the Queen City. The ring was stolen. I know the whole story. You talk to your son about me and him. We sat together on flights. You know your son, Larry, better than anybody because he's your son. Should I tell? Chris won't. He's not watching. He's coaching right now. We were flying from Regina to Winnipeg on a beater of a plane. Moose, this thing was smoking.
Leather helmets and goggles?
Pretty much. And this was his first season with us and with the Riders. And all he talked about, in Calgary, we do this. In Calgary, do that. And in Calgary, we have these flights. In Calgary, we have these meals on the flights. In Calgary, we get to... I say, why don't you go back there then? If Calgary's so freaking great. Would you be shocked that I said that, Moose?
No. Not one bit.
So we
all need a little bit more of that.
But you know what? He respected it.
Yeah.
We've been close ever since. See, you just got to be careful with the right guy to snap on.
Got to pick your spot.
You got to. I haven't been very, very good at picking my spot in life. Dougal Cameron in Calgary writes, and he says, parlay is a betting term in horse racing.
How about that?
Parlay is a term in betting, period. Right? If you make 3 bets in a game, that's a parlay, right, of things that are going to happen.
You string them together, and they all have to happen for you to win, not single events.
Yeah.
That's a parlay, yeah. You're right.
Dougal, I've met him, as have you, and I like him.
Yeah.
He's going to get me in trouble just for reading his tweets. He said that the only game he's going to go to McMahon this year is when Hamilton's there. And I said, nope, Hamilton's not there this year. And he goes, right you are, Rod. He's written back. He says, even more reason to stay away. Why can't we see each team in a 9-team league? Why does Ambrosi still have a job? Honestly, Rod, it is to weep. I don't know, and I don't care anymore, and I'm sleeping great. Yeah. This kind of stuff used to keep me up all night. I got to be honest, I got back to Florida. I'm sleeping like a log. Woke up on fire. That was in Ray Donovan the other day. I'm sleeping like a log. Woke up at a fireplace. Chris Bird in King City, Ontario. He says, my first taste of the NFL was the year Joe Theismann went down on the field. Didn't really follow it until the Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. What does that say about me? I don't know. I have enough to think about. But that was the era that I started to think was when the Bills were losing all those Super Bowls. That's when I started following it. Okay. That's all I have. Any last words for you? This has been fun today. I mean, we could sit and talk about the football till the squirrel came about nuts until the cows come home. You know,
and
any last thoughts? Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Over the next coming weeks and months, there'll be lots of football talk and lots of hockey talk too. Enjoy the game. I hope we got one to go to on Sunday.
Yes, travel safely. That does not look like we're going to be going to the watch party, and that's fine. Thad, if you're watching right now, I appreciate the invite. We'll catch you next round.
Oh, no.
Moose, you have a great afternoon. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have said that. Although I did vote for the Leafs to win Wednesday, and then they did. So that was weird.
Kiss of death.
Even my jinx can't screw up those guys. Okay, that's it. We're done. Everybody, we'll see you noon. From Kevin the Medium, he says, love the new studio. Wayne in BC, well, another great RP show. Have an awesome weekend, everyone. I think we can all agree. Everybody, bye-bye. Troy in Toronto. Hockey for the last minute. Go Leafs, go. Thank you, Troy, for checking in. Be safe. We'll see you Monday back here on Game in the Key.
Who has more fun than us?